Welcome back, guys, to VCU LCS this time, and we came back a bit late, but we'll jump straight into the pro draft because they've already started it. And I will, Tristan, are you okay to cast, or
Oh
do you
yeah,
want
I'm
to
good
step
to
this
cast.
one out? All right.
Are we gonna? You want to try? We didn't talk about it beforehand. Are we try casting this? I'm assuming.
I don't want to try cast, honestly.
Okay, no big deal.
I'm not feeling
Mary and I will take it away.
I
I
will
guess
just
if you just want to stream,
I will
I don't
just
know what you
keep the
want to do.
stream up, and I will focus on making sure people continue to lose their channel points. Yeah.
Good, thank you, Lokesh. I'm feeling pretty hype after just collecting a cool 30K from that last game. So I'm here to win more, take more of your channel points. Please feel free to donate them to the Red Lightning Channel Point Fund. But to get into the actual game, see some pretty standard bans coming out here. Aatrox ban, Pantheon ban, and a Hecarim actually from Apes, getting rid of some of World Ender's best champs, and then Hecarim just because it's kind of busted in VCLCS. And then on the flip side, Illaoi and Yorick away from Dog, with Kaisa banned away because she is OP.
Yeah, we actually see the Senna pick coming out from VSK. I believe that will be Mr. Baby Schmeat on Senna. It is one of his signature champions, and to counterpick that, they will pick the Misfortune.
I do think Senna is in a really good spot right now. Misfortune probably wins that lane because she's just so dominant in the actual laning phase, but attack speed Senna is like super oppressive right now. I do know it's one of Baby Schmeat's best champions, so I expect him to have a pretty good showing on it. Definitely the cutest Senna player at VCU.
We keep making the same joke.
Yeah.
That will be the victor over to the side of Apes. We have seen Kaiser Overlord play similar champions last week, actually, when our team played them. But that is actually Leona, not Victor, on the side of Apes. That'll be J Steiny playing Leona.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess the Misfortune Leona is a really good bot lane combo. Pretty standard. Drop your Leona ult, drop your Misfortune ult on top of it, get a lot of damage down. It's actually counterpicked by the Alistar. Alistar is a really good support right now, offers a whole lot, can make good roams, great in lane. I think he's a pretty good answer to Leona.
Yeah, we also see the Malphite coming out from Very Sultry Kings. This team looks dangerous. Their engage is kind of insane. That is Saxmuthin's signature Alistar, so we will be seeing him back at it again on the Alistar. Alistar Senna, very good lane, because Senna really just wants to poke out people, and Alistar's the perfect engage support for that.
Yeah, the only part I'm scared about is that I think that Malphite is probably for World Ender in the top lane, which I think he'll do really good on it, but does limit yourself a little bit when your biggest playmaker is, and your highest ranked player is not on a carry champ. We'll have to see. I know his Ornn, he's definitely managed to make some tanks look like they're carry champs, so we'll have to see if he can do that with his Malphite as well. And then Sejuani, not really a meta jungler right now, but you can't really go wrong with a long range ult engage and a tanky presence in the jungle.
That is an Azir ban, and that is Camille ban for the side of VSK. Sejuani, we actually saw. I'm sorry, I was mistaken. We didn't play Dog's team last week, but that is Kiyoshimon's Sejuani, which she did play last week. So I hope to see, she had some really good smites on Sejuani. So I hope to see that same level of gameplay that we saw from her last week.
Yeah. Hopefully should be good. The Sejuani was played by Kiyoshimon last week, like you said, and did pretty good, even though they ended up losing that game, I'm pretty sure. Still looked decent on that pick. Banning out the Udyr, getting away a power jungler from VSK in response for the counter pick. And then Quinn being taken away by VSK, making sure that Dog doesn't get any of his good picks. The Yorick is... No, Yorick was banned in the first round. My bad. I don't know who Apes is going to pick here right away. Looks like they're going to go for the Sylas, actually. So getting a pick here, it's definitely really good into Malphite if you want to send it into the top lane. It can counter Malphite pretty well. And then even if you send it mid, it just gives you the ability to steal that Malphite ult with a ton of AP behind it to, really blow up a team fight. And, with the Sylas, it's such a big counter pick into Malphite in the late game because all the power that Malphite brings is just that plus more by picking Sylas.
You know, that actually might be a Malphite mid, the more like I kind of think about it, because Proxy, we haven't seen too much of what he plays, but it doesn't Malphite doesn't seem like the carry champ that Dane would pick. So I'm excited to see what their last pick is, and that is indeed Malphite mid, as we have the Kale top, Dane's signature Kale.
Interesting. I kind of like it better with the Kale for World Ender instead of the Malphite. Kale's not in a super awesome place right now, but I don't think she's a bad pick by any means. But by leaving up your top lane for last pick, you will have a counter answer for Dog here, so he won't have to go into this blind. And the Sylas into Malphite mid is still, I think, great. I think Sylas is going to do just fine in that lane, and it should be pretty strong. The Renekton actually coming out into Kale, that's a bit scary.
I actually do like the Olaf pick on the side of VSK. I think that's what Jake Lem has been playing pretty recently, and Olaf is pretty good in this meta right now. And here we are in 2 picks. I'm glad we got this like rolling real quick though.
Just gonna go ahead and drop some channel points here. Gotta be the highest bidder.
Well,
it's fine.
before you bet, why don't we talk about comp? Who do you think won the draft phase, Mr. Red Lightning?
I think that Apes has a better draft here, actually. I think the Misfortune Leona bot lane is pretty standard. Is it better than Senna Alistar? At least in lane, I think it'll probably have Prio just because Misfortune is so strong. Senna Alistar can heal each other very well, though, so I don't think they're going to be poked out necessarily, but the shove should go to Misfortune. And then in the Sylas counter pick here against Malphite, especially going up against it mid, is just so strong. Malphite can definitely still kind of poke you out early, and it's not like Sylas just rolls him in that lane or anything, but in the mid to late game team fights, having a Malphite ult on a full AP character is just devastating, and Sylas offers so much more than Malphite does outside of that ultimate, so he's just Malphite but way better. And since Malphite's playing directly against you in the mid lane, you literally just, in my opinion, have a better champ on the side of Apes in the mid lane than you do on VSK. Now, the Renekton into the Kale is going to be a little bit difficult. If Dog plays it well, then Renekton should easily be able to make Kale's life miserable. Until she's ranged, she can't walk up to the wave. Renekton can one-shot her, and it's going to be really tough for Dane to play the game. But if he's able to avoid those kills, if the jungle pressure from J. Clem's Olaf is good enough, then Kale, once she's ranged, can easily bully Renekton and keep him away. You know, you still have to avoid the Renekton dash or whatnot, but, you know, if we've seen World Ender get fed on Kale before, so it's not like their draft is completely like bad or anything. I actually think VSK's draft is perfectly fine. I just think Apes got the better answers, and the only place I think where they're like behind is the jungle.
Yeah, I would agree with most of your points here. I think that Apes definitely early game is a lot stronger. However, I think VSK just totally outranges them late game. Their comp is way better for late game. They have so much engage from Alistar, Malphite, like Olaf, and you have the damage to back it up from Senna and Kale. On Apes, yeah, it is true that Renekton can easily kill Kale in the top lane, and that Misfortune Leona probably has the better level 6 in the bot lane. But I think just VSK got away with a pretty really good ranged comp.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree with that point. Like I said, I think VSK's comp is perfectly acceptable here. I just think they're going to have a hard time. I think the mid lane matchup is really heavily favored towards, at least just in champs. I think Proxy is a good player and may or may not be better than Kaiser Overlord, I'm not sure. But I think the Sylas pick into Malphite in the mid lane is just way better for Apes to get there strong. The Renekton should, theoretically, make Kale's life miserable, make it pretty much unplayable in the top lane there. And, you know, you should have some early bot pressure probably. So I think they have all the tools they need to get an early lead, and then they have the late game insurance with Sylas dealing Malphite ults and just using that to pop Kale and Senna. But, you know, it would not surprise me if VSK did manage to win this. They have some great early game pressure from Olaf in the jungle, definitely going to be doing a whole lot more than Sejuani, more than likely. And, you know, despite the fact that Sylas can steal Malphite ult, you still have a Malphite, so you can use the ult as well. If Kale gets ahead, she's going to do a lot of damage. Senna, like you mentioned, is super long range, and her attack speed build is super oppressive. So they have all the tools they need. I just think they're a little bit outclassed.
Yeah, I think it'll just depend on if Dog's team can snowball their lead super fast, because their team is very oppressive, and Silas has plenty of good ults to steal. So they could, if they make out like bandits in the early game, then I think they'll have a really good chance of winning the game. But if the game drags out too long, then we might see VSK just snowball and run them over.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing a lot of predictions toward VSK, or a lot of points at least. VSK currently holds a lead 93% to 7%. Now it's 5 people to 9 people in terms of actual votes, but in terms of where the points are in our predictions, it looks like VSK is heavily favored. So ATS people looking to cash out big here if they can manage to get that win.
I actually really like Tarbo's point that if Kale goes mid, then Renekton might have a tough time against that Malphite top there. So maybe Dane might be pulling what he did in one of our games where he was playing Mordekaiser and just ended up going mid anyway.
I agree. I kind of like that point. Now Renekton can match him as well. Renekton's not a terrible mid laner either, so I think Renekton should follow Worldender wherever he goes. But that is a really good point. Proxy, we saw, can play a pretty good top lane, as he did in the last tournament. And if you match Malphite to Renekton and Kayle to Sylas, Kayle's going to be much better in that matchup. Sylas still probably beats her early, and it's, you know, she's still a little bit at threat to dying. He's a bit more mobile than Renekton is, but Kayle will have an easier time in the mid lane, but just by being closer to her turret. Probably a little bit harder to get punished. Sylas won't do as much early damage as Renekton, and Malphite is like the perfect champ to just answer a strong Renekton. He might die. He probably will go down in CS, but go back, buy an early Bramble Vest, buy an early steel plate, steel cap boots, or whatever they're called, Ninja Tabby. Grab your Bombay Cinder, and you are going to be good to go against Renekton for the rest of the game. So I do like that point. I do think that they should probably try to switch the lanes and make sure that Kayle is always against Sylas.
Agreed. Let's talk about this bot lane matchup a little bit more. So we have Mr. Bayoraga on Misfortune. Misfortune very strong right now. It's very easy to get poked out by her, and they have a really strong. Both lanes have a very strong all-in, so it's really about who takes better trades.
Agreed, for sure. We are going to be getting into the game here any second now. We're loading in. I wonder if we'll get any level 1 shenanigans from these comps. I think both comps have some tools to kind of do it. You could see Senna going in with an early snare or her root, trying to get a big team root. But
I'm not sure you wanna 4v5 this when Dane on Kayle is barely a champion at level 1. So
true. I would be surprised if it would not surprise me at all. Let me put it that way. If both teams just decided to 5-point it and handshake and not do anything. That's what most VCU LCS teams generally do in the early game. But I think 5-man invades have been pretty successful when they've been attempted. So
unless the other team 5 stacks and is waiting
exactly
in their jungle.
That's kind of the counter to a 5-man invade, but looks like both teams, kind of like I mentioned, they're going to go ahead and 5-point. They might try to walk in and get an early ward placed down here or there, but both teams want to play it safe in the early game.
Yes, sir. We will not see any shenanigans this early into the game, but I'm sure we will see many later, as this is VCU LCS Week 2.
Yeah, Kyoshimon drops his ward early, and then she's going to run straight over to her blue buff to start on the bot side, where she has a little bit more support for the early leash. Looks like Olaf is going to do the same. Did see where the ward was placed from red side, but he didn't start a sweeper. He dropped his own ward and then backed and got a sweeper, so gonna leave that ward there, just try to avoid that pathing around it to not be spotted, and head to the bot lane as well.
Yep, it looks like actually Malphite will be going mid this game, and Kill will be going top. But I expect to see. Well, I actually think Dane will do perfectly fine into this Renekton matchup. Like, even if Renekton kills you early, once you hit level 6, level 11, then you'll be fine as Kayle.
Yeah, his Kayle is very good. It's one of his more one of the champs he's put a bunch of time into. Dog, both him and Dog were knocked down quite a few picks in the ban phase, but Dog, I think, has less picks. He's more of a one-trick than Dane is, so than World Ender. So hopefully this kill can look pretty good. And I'm kind of biased against VCU Renekton's. As far as I've seen, like every VCU Renekton game I've seen, even from high elo players, including both World Ender and Dog, has looked terrible. Maybe they find a kill in lane, but usually they like lose to the tank players, and they'll go up 20 CS, but accidentally kill themselves under turret and get ganked and constantly die. So I'm a little bit scared for Dog's Renekton because I just have not seen much success here at VCU. Actually, level 2 engage for here from the red side. They get the early push and they get a big chunk down into Sax Muffin. So just showing that they have that stronger bot lane already. They're going to probably have the shove for most of this early game. Not too bad for blue side's bot lane. They both have healing with Senna and with Alistar, so should have no problem healing right back up to full.
Yeah, we just see a couple of good trades going on in the bot and mid lane, and I'm not sure what's going on top because Director Cam won't take me there. But we saw the level 2 come in early from the Leona Misfortune, which allowed them to go in, and they did a really good job in trading that back. It's just that this bot lane is a very healing one because you have Alistar passive, and you said we have the Senna Q. And Baby Shmi will be actually a little low on mana here.
Yeah, probably spammed out his Q to get Alistar back to full health. So already running a little bit low, and probably spamming it as well just to try to keep this wave down. Misfortune's wave clear is pretty good with her E, and then just her double tap passive giving her extra damage on these minions. So trying to keep that from being under a tower so we can actually get more of the CS, but I think it's going to be basically here for most of the early game. It should give Sejuani plenty of early prio between, honestly, what should be kind of at least 2 winning side lanes in the early game, and then a mid lane where I think it's probably more neutral. So should be able to invade or fight for Scuttle Crabs or do whatever she wants. Already see she's got the top Scuttle Crab. Ooh, Kaiser Overlord taking a really good trade into Proxy here. Both actually get pretty low, but Proxy had what Corrupting Potion stat left, and Kaiser Overlord did not. Now Leona's in here all by herself. Sax Muffin does a pretty good job of actually knocking Balraga away, so Jay Steiny is kind of left alone, but they just don't have the damage to actually trade back. No mana or HP left on any mid laner right here, so both kind of just backing off. Kyoshimon waiting in the wings here just in case they get a little scrappy again, but I think Kaiser Overlord's going to back and TP back to lane here.
Yeah, we had a really interesting scrap on the bot lane, actually. We just see like how oppressive this lane is, but Sax Muffin actually doing a really great job in knocking away Balrog in the last fight, and both heals are actually going to be used here, and Sax Muffin will go down first blood over to Balraga. Yeah,
a little bit unfortunate there. They do burn the heal first from Balraga, so not too bad in the beginning, but Sax Muffin actually ends up getting crowd controlled just for a little bit too long. Uses his flash, but he's probably already dead at that point, so no real reason to. The Leona crowd control was just pretty oppressive. They did a good job, like I said at the beginning of the trade. He gets a lot of crowd control over onto Balrauga, which forced his heal, but using all those abilities left him completely alone and vulnerable, and he was unable to flash out before Leona got the return crowd control. So ends up going down. Now slight gold lead over to red side, up about 600 to 700 gold at this point. Ooh, nearly steal the dragon. Kyoshimon did not have smite. And Olaf can't quite get a few.
There you go.
Jay Steiny might be going down here as well. It does flash away, but Jay Clem still has these axes if he keeps picking them up. The TP is actually going to come in, but he does pick up Jay Steiny here. Malphite TP's in, but they're already under tower, so they can't get anything in return. 2 kills picked up for the side of VSK.
A really great rotation up to Dragon. I wasn't sure. I don't think Yoshimon's smite was up, so that's maybe why she didn't smite it. But there's just really great rotation from Sax Muffin up through there, and then they were able to pick up the 2 kills very well.
And speaking of VCU Renekton, Dog hasn't died or anything yet, but he is actually down CS, and World Ender has already gotten to level 6 and is ranged. So the hardest part of the game for him is already over. Did survive in lane. Neither top laner needed to back, and now he's actually going to get dove here by Proxy. Great early dive using Kale's ultimate. They didn't even need it, but they had Kale's ultimate in reserve just in case the dive goes a little bit bad. Instantly one-shotting Dog, getting an assist over to Kale, getting a kill over to your Malphite, and VSK just looking great in this early game at this point.
Yeah, they're doing so good with the rotation and the macro plays. Like as we see, Kyoshimon was topside, but didn't anticipate that Olaf and Proxy were all the way top already. We don't talk about that because there's a scrap happening in the bot lane.
Yeah, Jay Steiny goes in here, but Saxmuffin once again does a good job, knocks Balraga away from the fight completely, so he can't respond at all. Does go in again, which probably a bad idea, knowing that you're a little bit weak in this bot lane. Baby Schmeat's going to be forced to flash away, but Jay Steiny is still here. Balraga uses his own flash, manages to get the kill picked up. Saxmuffin might go down here as well. He is going to get stunned up, and Balraga does finish it off. Just over-aggression from the side of very Sultry Kings in the bot lane. No real reason, once you stop the engage, to continue the fight. I have to criticize Saxmuffin a little bit there. He's doing a great job headbutting Balraga away so they get a 1v2 on Leona, but once Balraga gets back, you can't fight anymore. You know, he's still stronger than you. So his over-aggression here just cost him and Baby Schmeat 2 more deaths in this bot lane right when the top side of his team is making, you know, a lot of plays around the map.
Yeah, we actually see that Saxmuffin is down a level, and so is Baby Schmeat, and that's just because they haven't been in lane a lot. Like, they've been roaming mid, they've been roaming up to Dragon, and we just see a bunch of trades happening in mid. But you're not gonna, if you're level down in the bot lane, you don't want to continue being a level down. You should try to farm up.
Yeah. Ooh. Kaiser Overlord going aggressive here, does use the Malphite and picks up the kill. Really good play there, showing you just how dangerous that counter matchup can be. Malphite's ultimate wasn't quite up, just came up right now this second, so didn't have it to respond. And Silas with Malphite ult when he's building AP is just gonna have a more dangerous Malphite ult than Malphite. So
that's my boy Richie.
Using the counter pick effectively there. Great job from Kaiser Overlord. Punishing Malphite using his ult in that top lane play. So definitely looking good. A little bit scary though, and the one good thing to think about for VSK is that your Kayle is still sitting pretty in the top lane. 10 CS lead, level 8 already, well on her way to becoming a champion. Still, you know, obviously no completed items, but every minute that goes by is another minute where she hasn't been punished and killed by this Renekton, and she's only going to get stronger and stronger in this matchup.
Yeah, unfortunately, for the side of Apes, their jungler just isn't as experienced as Jacqueline is. So even though you might see these top lane ganks or these ganks like somewhere else, they just might not have the experience to be able to just go in and get some kills and get their laner ahead. What she should have been doing is maybe staying top and camping Dane out. Like, that's everyone's favorite strategy for keeping Dane out of the game. But Kale's been free farming in the top lane, and even though Balraga's been doing really well in the bot lane, 3-0, about to finish his Gale Force probably when he goes back. You know, if Kale ults and, you know, your misfortune, then you might not survive that encounter.
Definitely still scary though. Even if Dog has not been able to punish World Ender, which even without jungle help he probably should have been, the Balrog being up 3 kills right now and about 30 CS overall, he's up 1,500 gold on Senna, is pretty scary because Balrog could easily obliterate a backline if he's ahead by this much gold come team fighting time. You drop a Leona ult and it's going to be really difficult for blue side to do basically anything. A good ult from the Malphite in the mid lane from Proxy could stop that problem. So there are answers, but it's hard to team fight. It's hard to sit there and auto attack when, you know, your entire backline is getting shredded by a misfortune ult, and you could just spend your entire time running away from that instead of actually fighting back if you're World Ender.
We will see red side go for this dragon here. They are pretty likely to get it since the mid is Jacqueline is in the mid, dropping the Rift Herald. So we have a 2-dragon lead over to the side of red side, and the mountains will rise. Actually, Mountain Soul seems very good for either team here, just because both teams have so much damage. Helps you survive any team fight.
Yeah, definitely good. Nobody's gonna be upset with a Mountain Soul. You're probably happy if you're blue side that it is Mountain though. I feel like Mountain is one of the easier souls to play against. It doesn't feel nearly as oppressive as like an Infernal Soul or an Ocean Soul. You know, a shield, it sucks to have to fight through an extra few hundred health, but you know, I don't feel like the Mountain Soul absolutely wins you the game just by collecting it. And at least for the time being, we're actually going to see an engage here from Proxy. Kaiser Overlord does heal up a ton of health though, but with the Senna ult coming in over top and Saxmuffin showing up, he is burning down to the Ignite and does die. Proxy does pick up the kill. and gets Senna and Alistar an assist as well. Great play in the mid lane to end up getting that punish.
Yep, really good job by Saxmuffin again, being mid, letting his laner get some much needed CS and XP without him.
Yeah, definitely good roams. Get as much time as you can here for Baby Schmeat to farm up and get some EXP. And, you know, with bot lane being so far behind, what I was kind of mentioning before that play, the Dragons are going to go to Apes the Other Strong, at least for this foreseeable future. Their bot lane is just too weak right now on VSK to actually effectively, like, contest those bot lane objectives. So, and Kayle is not at the point where she's, like, actually really relevant. She's relevant in this top lane matchup, but in a team fight, she still has not a completed item yet, so not exactly a big team fight threat. Once she hits level 11, once she gets 1 or 2 items, that's when you start worrying about her in the team fight. Good flash from Baby Schmeat. You were going to die there with Jay Steiny coming in.
Yeah. He will not have any flash in case Jay Steiny decides to dive him, but luckily Baraga did use his ult there, so they won't be diving him 100%.
If you want to go in here, if you're Saxmuffin. I mean, I guess it was fine. You get a little bit of damage down, but you eat enough damage in return, it's probably not really worth. And I think he saw the misfortune by herself and thought, hey, 1v2, let's do it. But Leona was lurking in the wings, definitely close by to support his ADC. Olaf is here in the mid lane, though. Kaiser Overlord is forced to hightail it out back to his turret, which has lost 3 turret plates at this point. So if he dies, they could possibly knock that down after they used the Rift Herald on there earlier to take off 60% of itself.
I mean, Blue side doing a really good job of keeping up with the gold, actually. They knocked down those 3 turret plates. That was some gold. Dane's actually farming it up in this top lane here.
Yeah.
We actually have Olaf. Olaf is ahead by about 10 CS.
Dive part 2.
We're going to see a dive in the top lane.
World Ender can just tank this here. He has his ultimate. Drop your ult right now so you don't... Oh, he actually didn't take that last turret shot, so didn't have to use his ultimate. Get another clean kill. I have to say, these dives onto the top lane are extremely clean. They're identifying a weaker, a weak link. They get their strong players up here, and they use the Kayle ult. Kayle still has her ultimate, though. She should survive here, but she actually gets burst out with the Malphite ult before she has a chance. Luckily, the Sejuani ult hits the Olaf, who was already in his own ultimate, so it did not slow him down. Kyoshimon is going to get hit a couple of times here, but with the flash should get away. Ends up being a 1-for-1 in the fight afterwards. Saxmuffin takes a small engagement onto Balrauga, but just backs away probably correctly because definitely don't want any piece of that bot lane at this point.
Nothing much to say here. Just they had a pretty decent counter engage in the top lane. Dane definitely overstayed and didn't press his ult. We won't fault him for that.
Yeah, I think the top lane dives have been super good. I don't think we see enough dives in VCU LCS. They're really hard to do correctly. Actually, Saxmuffin going to engage here on a Balrauga. They get the stun. World Ender has actually flanked behind and does still have his ultimate up, so Balrauga is going to get probably taken down here, but he does pick up Baby Schmeat first. However, World Ender picks up the 700 gold shutdown, so not exactly a terrible trade here. And now Dog and Jay Steiny are on the run. World Ender is probably stronger than either one of them at this moment, so gotta head back. I don't think you're unhappy if you're either that side. If you're red side, you picked up a kill and you got, even though they forced the TP. If you're blue side, hey, you got a shot down onto your most important member. So, ooh, good ult from Proxy.
I actually think you're pretty unhappy, but I'll wait till this fight is over.
Ooh, and Proxy's actually just going to go down here. Never mind. I thought it looked like a good ult, but overestimated his damage. Kaiser Overlord just heals it all right back up. Actually, engage going on here in the bot lane against Dog right now. World Ender does have his ultimate, though. He can protect Saxmuffin a little bit longer, and the ultimate does come down to kill Dog, actually. But Saxmuffin is still going to go down to the turret, and Jay Steiny is too tanky to take down another 1-for-1. But once again, kill over to Kayle, exactly where you want it to be.
Yeah, I was actually gonna say the same thing. Where I think if you're red side, just in that particular trade, like you don't want your 700 gold to go over to Kayle, and you don't want your kills to go over to Kyoshimon. But it does look like blue side is gonna contest this dragon, this new dragon. Yeah.
You are forcing them off. You are missing some big ults from blue side right now. The Malphite ult and Kayle ult are not up, but they're with the number advantage they have because Dog was dead. They are able to push them off, but they might be going a little bit too far. They should turn around and grab this dragon, stop the stacking while you can. If blue side get Dog into the fight and decide to end up fighting, they have, the most important ultimate right now, the Misfortune ultimate, up and ready to go. So could be pretty scary. Ragnarok is actually going to be popped here by the Olaf. They're going to flash in, but they can't quite find Balrauga. He is able to Gale Force and flash away. The big ult coming through, hitting all the members. World is actually stunned up, uses his ultimate once again, but he is going to go down here. Oh, actually lives. Kaiser Overlord goes down instead. Saxmuffin is tanking up with his ultimate. Baby Schmidt healing them up in the back lane. Dog goes down. Phew, complicated fight, but Jay Steiny is going to just barely get killed up under this turret. Baby Schmidt collects the kill, and now they're going to push down mid. I actually got confused there. World Ender did not drop his ultimate again. It is actually on cooldown. Kaiser Overlord stole it and used it to keep himself alive for a bit longer, but not long enough because he used it on a different member and could not pick up the kill on the World Ender. Big fight win from blue side.
Yeah, let's break down that fight a little bit. So we actually had an interesting engage by blue side into that little choke point right there. I think I saw Malphite and Alistar head in there, and then we saw part of red side actually go onto the back line with Senna and World Ender, and World Ender chooses not to ult himself, and barely gets away with an eighth of his HP. But in the end, blue side is able to dominate the fight.
Yeah, the Misfortune ult looked pretty scary. Managed to land it on pretty much the entire team, but while being chased down by Saxmon, actually going to pause that right now. Senna is going to get engaged on, and it looks like she's just going to go down here. Jay Steiny picks it up with the final explosion right there from Leona, but the damage from Balrauga is just simply too much to deal with at this point in this lane. But Dog is going to get run down here. World Ender is just going to have to force him to flash away. He is much stronger than Dog is at this point. Dog is 0-4, and he is 4-1. 2 items complete onto this Kale now, and she is very, very, very scary after a couple of big shutdowns picked up and a couple of big team fight wins.
Yeah, I think if you're blue side here, you actually want to start taking these fights because your top laner is just so fed, and you have so much engage. They have a little bit of counter engage with the Malphite, but I thought Dog might go down here.
Yeah, he does barely live with 1 HP thanks to the ult, and dodges the Senna ult, so it doesn't go down either. Blue side might want to dip a little bit. There are a lot of members from Red team here, and your Senna is in the bot lane. Definitely not game over by any means for the Apes Together Strong. You have a pretty nasty combo if you can get Kaiser Overlord with a Malphite ult or a Kale ult, and then just have him jump in, layer on top with your Leona crowd control, and then a big Misfortune ult. Suddenly you're looking at a pretty crazy team fight combo, but it's just getting scarier and scarier. World Ender has all the gold that he needs to be the carry at this point. Dog, as we've already seen, cannot contest him in the side lane. He's down 60 CS, tons of kills. Just has to run or he loses his life. So you have tons of split push pressure every time Kale's teleport is up. And the other 4 members at this point look strong enough to where they could probably hold out. So it's going to be a lot harder for red side to play this game. They're going to have to get a pretty nasty wombo combo in team fights around objectives to have really any shot to come back.
It could even be that red side gets a pick. I mean, they could pick Saxmuffin or Baby Schmidt pretty easily and take that 4v5. I'm not sure if you win that 4v5 necessarily, but that's probably one of your best bets is just try to pick off someone in the side lane and then try to force a team fight.
Yeah, I think most of the impetus on this game at this point is going to be on members like Silas and Leona. Actually, Kaiser Overlord's going to be going on in a World Ender, forced to ult himself, but then Kale ults himself right afterwards. Kaiser Overlord should be picking up this kill, 700 gold down onto the Silas, and that's exactly what I was talking about. Silas and Jay Steiny, the Leona, and Kyoshimon too, actually. I think all of these supporting, I'm calling them supporting cast, even though Silas is kind of a carry. All of them need to play these fights and play the rest of the game extremely well to get them into a point where they can continue to win. I'm not worried about Balrauga managing to find good Misfortune ults and lots of damage on Misfortune. We've seen him do it before. We've seen him do it in this game. But his supporting cast members need to be able to get this fight set up. Silas has to be able to get good hijacks and use them effectively to either, just outright find picks and kill this Kale, pick up big shutdowns, or set up a team fight for him. Baby Schmied's going to get taken super low and actually gets killed off by the Misfortune ultimate. Now Jay Steiny is onto J Clem. Dog is here as well. Has a lot of people around him. Forced to use the ult to run away, but there's a fight in the mid lane as well now. 2 Malphite ults going down cause Kaiser Overlord to go down instead. Now Balrauga's a little bit caught out, but he might be able to make it away from this guy. In the bot lane, they were fighting as well. Constant fights. Balrauga somehow kills Proxy in the mid lane, but J Clem goes down to Dog. So a little bit of gold over there to your Renekton. And finally Balrauga falls. This is just a chaotic game. Fights mid, fights top, fights bot. Everybody's scrapping, but it looks like that's going to lead to red side grabbing this Drake.
Yeah, we actually ended up with a 3 for 2, favored to the side of red. I don't think blue side's gonna go ahead and contest this Drake. Even though you have Kale Alistar and Alistar can peel for your Kale, there's just too much CC on the side of red side that are of the people that are taking the Drake right now. A little bit of a late smite, but it's no one's gonna contest that unless the Sentinel comes in.
Yeah, there was no contest, so it's not too big of a deal. They are in the driver's seat to grab this soul. They do have 3 dragons now, so you're feeling pretty good about that at least. You can get a 26-minute soul at this point, or 27-minute soul, so not too bad. At the same time, VSK does pick up another mid lane turret. So both teams just kind of taking trades. VSK currently sits with about a 3,000 gold lead. A lot of that is in the extra 2 turrets that they've picked up around the map. But with Kale's split push ability, they should be able to keep doing that. You do have to worry a little bit about Silas. He's already shown he can kill that Kale in the side lane if he finds a good fight, but should be kind of tough. I think Kale is just going to continue to get stronger and stronger, and with a full item diff coming on, 3 items compared to 2 on Silas, I think Kale should be able to win that fight pretty consistently if she doesn't get jumped by Silas out of a bush or something. And Dog, I don't believe has any chance. I think Kale could sit in melee range and just beat down Dog at this point.
Yeah, Kale actually, even though she can beat down Dog, they still haven't taken that bottom outer turret. So she'll be just casually poking at Dog and taking all that juicy CS.
I'm surprised to see Malphite actually picking up a Seeker's Arm Guard. So despite going Frostfire and Bramble Vest, actually deciding he wants a little bit of AP as well. I mean, still more armor, so that's great. Wants some damage.
I'm going to just interject a bit. On mid lane Malphite, that's kind of a go-to item to get Seekers into a Zonias, so you can engage more effectively and do a little bit more damage in the team fights, and then you have the stopwatch so you don't just get focused down and blown up right afterwards. Stall a bit of time, let your team clean up the remainder of the fight.
Oh yeah, it makes perfect sense to me. I'm surprised we don't see it more on top lane Malphite as well, to be honest. AP is definitely good on Malphite, and Seekers and Zonias is just such an effective item, giving him armor for his passive and AP as well.
So, the reason we don't really see it on top lane Malphite is because he just, wants to go full in on just being, an unkillable super tank, right? But on mid lane, if you're kind of lacking damage, if you go with the Malphite mid, so makes sense to go Seekers, stall a bit of time, maybe do a little bit of extra AP damage with your ult, but...
Yeah, I don't think your goal as mid Malphite is to do a bunch of damage. It's to be that engaged that you might not necessarily get from someone like Kale in the top lane. But that is the bot lane turret over to Mr. Dane, who has 3 items. So he's working it out. I would like to call out the captains for still having the yellow ward, the regular ward.
Yep. We are going to get a fight here, though. Jaclem is coming around from the side on Balrauga. He is in a bit of a bad spot. Malphite ult comes in as well. Balrauga's already going down. That's your main damage threat for this team fight right now. Dog is going down quickly as well. Leona ult comes in. Dog is still managing to heal up with his Gore Drinker. Flashes away, but there's still a lot of damage going down. J-Stein, he's up in the middle of things. Does take down Sax Muffin, but with the damage from Kale, he's going to die as well. Kyoshimon is trying to flee, but the axe spam from Jaclem is enough to kill him. Kaiser Overlord cannot engage himself. He's the last man standing, and if he goes in, he will definitely die 1v4. So, I wouldn't be surprised to see a dive.
I was not a big fan of that ult from Dog into the middle of the team fight. It was a little, not only was it a little late, but you're also just kind of giving yourself away to the other team. And Dane is level 15. If he picks up one more level 16 will be a ticking time bomb.
Yeah, he's feeling definitely pretty good. The game, for blue side, I mean, they're up about 5,000 gold. They could probably look over towards Baron right now if they want, but with Dragon spawning in a minute, they probably want to just prevent the soul. There's no reason to give that over. In both the 5v5 and the split push, I think you have a much easier time playing out these fights if you're blue side. Once again, red side's wombo combo is good enough that they could win any fight if they get it correctly or if blue side plays it poorly, but it just gets easier and easier the longer this game goes for blue side. They do blow the Olaf ult already, though, just to get away from J-Stiney and Balrog. I know he's going to go straight back in. Balrog might have bit off a little bit more than he could chew, but the Olaf ult wears off. But here comes Malphite from the side. Does manage to pick off Balrog. He's still alive, though, just barely getting his point-blank ult right here, but he dies to J-Clim instead. That goes most of your damage once again. Kyoshimon is going to be sitting here taking up the fight, but Kaiser Overlord has already gone down. The rest of the team members are all here. It's a full 5v5 in the mid lane. In the river, but World Ender does pick up the kill finally. It is a full 5-man ace for no kills onto blue side. Looks like they're going to walk straight down the game.
They're picking to end the game. Let's see. We have 18 seconds on Beoraga. Can they take the 2 turrets and the Nexus? It does look like they can. World Ender is level 16, and will start lapping away at that turret.
Yeah, I believe they can take it down. World Ender just does a lot of damage right now, and you have all 5 members, so even if they start spawning, they can't prevent you from just autoing this Nexus down. Great game from VSK. Well played. Great redemption game from World Ender. Getting a huge win here after having a pretty not fun time in the last game we just watched in his CSL show match, so happy for him that he managed to get that win. And GG. Real quick, before we try to pull an interview, I guess, what do you guys think that Apes needed to do differently to get that win?
I think the lot went wrong, personally. I mean, I was kind of just watching, but I think a lot went wrong, not only in laning phase, where they weren't able to punish the kill at all. There was just a huge jungle gap overall, and when you saw Kaiser Overlord get a kill on Malphite, that's when you need to sort of start playing around the Silas to snowball your win condition, right? Not only that, Beoraga was also playing really well bot lane with J-Stiney, and he got fed, so you did it again, go to your bot lane, try and snowball that win condition. Trying to neutralize Dane after, like, he's already up, like, 20, 30 CS on dog in laning phase, there's, like, no point to doing that. Just play towards mid-bot, and then they potentially have a better chance of winning. I just think the macro was completely off. And as I finish that statement, I'll put up an interview, a poll for the interview, see who we can drag in.
Yeah, I'll agree with
I know who I want.
I'll agree with Lokesh here. I think Beoraga did a really good job of getting his lane ahead, but ultimately, if you're playing ADC and you're playing against Malphite and Alistar and Olaf, like you're just gonna get popped. Like it's an inevitability. So you either have to keep snowballing that, or you really have to rely on your mid lane. And their mid lane did very well, and he was able to kill Proxy very easily. But he just didn't have enough help. And then they took a couple bad team fights actually at the end there. So I think if they hadn't taken some of those bad team fights, the game would have gone on a little bit longer. But overall, pretty much establishing dominance is VSK.
Well, it looks like, I don't know how much longer we want to go, but it looks like World Ender has come out ahead in our interview here.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop the poll right here, and we'll drag Mr. Dane in. Let me just do that real quick. Where is Mr. Dane? Alright, let me
Pull
drag
him.
I want it.
Dane,
Hello.
Danishman has arrived.
Dane, are you tilted?
Not at all, dude.
I didn't think so. I think after I saw you buy 5 stopwatches, I was like, he's feeling pretty good. So what did you think about that game? Were you ever really worried after you saw the Renekton counter pick come in? And how did you weather the storm in that top lane?
I mean, I kind of got away with a lot of stuff there. I saw their jungle ganks coming, so I was able to just like run away from them when needed. So I was able to pretty much play how I wanted to play. I wasn't too worried. Once I like after like the first 3 waves, I saw I was up a CS. Guys, game's over.
Dane, there was a lot of interesting plays top. We saw a lot of roams from your mid and your jungle. Do you have any commentary on that?
Yeah, my team's baller, dude, helping me out, seeing the Kale, knowing the win condition, and feeling like they needed to bully the Croc. I didn't ask for it; they just did it on their own. I just want to let a dog know that I didn't ask for them to help. But when they're already up there, am I going to say no?
It did look pretty good. I was pretty impressed by the coordination to get 2 dives set up there. Basically identical versions of themselves. We don't see a ton of dives in VCLCS because I assume they're just risky and kind of hard to pull off. But
when you have Malphite Kale, it's pretty easy, especially after Kale's level 6. Like whoever's tanking just Kale ults on the way out.
Agreed. It
Let's
looked
talk
really good either way.
Yeah, let's talk about this Malphite mid pick. This is kind of unconventional. I haven't seen it in meta lately. So, was this a Proxy's idea? As he did play Malzahar last week, which is kind of similar in that they're both like control. Do you have any comments on that?
It was his idea. We've been playing it with scrims, but with a little different combination. But
What was the combination?
I'm not spoiling that.
Also,
it looked really good, so I was like, yeah, this is the move. We're hoping to get him on Kaiser on the Yone, so like he had to deal with a Malphite in lane, but other than
Ziggleman wants to know about how you feel about that the death to Silas 1v1 in the top lane.
I felt bad about how bad they were losing.
That's funny.
And
that's
also
crack.
limit testing.
True.
And if I don't get solo killed at least once a game, am I really even playing?
That's true. You know what? I've never heard a truer statement. I do have a question. How mad are you that Proxy won't change his name to VSK Proxy? Everyone else
a little
has.
bit. It's more tilting than playing in show matches.
Is it really? Yeah, you heard it here. Proxy, you need to change your name, or your captain will be mad at you.
I will find a new sub. Just kidding. Proxy's my rock.
Literally.
Well, I think that'll probably do it for us here. Congratulations to the very Sultry Kings, expanding their win streak to 2-0 now, sitting actually at the top of the standings as the only team that's played and won 2 games. Apes have a strong fall to 0-2, having a disappointing start, but still have plenty of games left to bring their record back up higher. Thank you to Dane for coming on and interviewing, and
I'd
I
also
think
like to
that'll.
point out that both our wins are under 30 minutes.
Good to know. And against 2 good teams, 2 teams that our analysts that you're included in ranked pretty highly on our tier list to start the season. So, well done to the very Sultry Kings.
All right,
Yeah,
wait.
VSK
I gotta.
pretty
Who are we
good.
playing next?
Uh-oh.
Playing
the
pending.
boys,
Big
Elvin's
Ichi,
team.
better not bring your fucking excuse me, your Fiora back to my lane, dude. Don't do that. I'll clap it again.
Oof.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see y'all next time. When's
Yep.
our next game? This Sunday? I believe.
Yeah, so Sunday at 7, we have Dogecoin versus Washington Everfrost, followed up by, at 9, I think it's going to be Boys versus First Crusade. I think that's you and your team versus Elvin's team, Red Lightning.
That is.
Please
So, look
let
forward to
him play
that.
Nivea.
But yeah, thanks a lot, and you, Mary, you're also on that team. I nearly forgot. But yeah, thanks
I was
everyone.
Last pick.
Oh, sorry, what did you say?
I was the last pick on that team. That's why you forgot.
Oh, well, it is what it is. But anyways, thanks everyone for tuning into the stream. We had a nice show match between our 2 competitive teams, and then followed up by VCU LCS. So an exciting day of League, and hopefully another exciting day of League will follow suit shortly on Sunday, where we, I think, finish some of the remaining Week 2 games. And one more thing, I do apologize about not uploading these to YouTube. I've been lazy, but I promise I'll get them out soon, whenever soon is. But yeah, thanks for everyone for tuning in. Peace out.